Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Book Pub Podcast. This is a podcast where us two wonderful nerdy women talk about books and the authors who wrote them
Yay!
while enjoying a nice cocktail.
Oh yeah, that part. I forgot about that part. I should have thrown that in there. Instead, I just went, yay.
Yay!
I froze.
Books!
Books! I'm Madeline.
I'm Lesley.
Yay!
Yay! And what are we talking about today, Madeline?
We are doing Dame Agatha Christie.
Nice. Okay.
An author known for 66 to 72 novels. I saw several different websites say different numbers, so
Interesting.
ballpark 66 to 72 novels. 14 short story collections and the world's longest running play, The Mousetrap.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I wanted to do Agatha Christie at this time because that movie came out recently of the one on the boat, the Hercule Poirot movie. I can't remember. And Reese Witherspoon's book club released a fiction.
Death on the Nile.
Thank you. Yes, not that. That's not the fiction that got released, but that's the movie. That is about Agatha Christie's 10-day disappearance, and so that, so I was like, oh, this is kind of like a good time. And then doing this research, I forgot how much I love Agatha Christie and how inspiring she is, and that I just so happened to start reading this book too, called 8 Perfect Murders. And they talk a lot about Agatha Christie. So just in general, I was like, this is so timely for me personally. And the play The Mousetrap, I saw that when I was studying in New Zealand. So all sorts of just fun stuff. I'm
Nice.
just so excited to bring her here to you.
Yay.
Dear listener. And today we are going to be drinking a cocktail called Satan's Whisker. And when I was doing my research for cocktails that I was like, what would I want to drink with Agatha?
Nice.
I was thinking that I would want something like a mint julep, but I was like, no, we need to save a mint julep for like a southern person.
Like very
But I was like,
southern.
that's just kind of like what I felt, like what I would sip with Agatha is a mint julep for some reason. But then I decided to do some research, and I found this whole website called everythingagatha.com, and it's this page talks about specific cocktails because a cocktail is mentioned in almost every single one of her books.
Oh, okay.
Now, while she wasn't necessarily a drinker, she mentions like several in each of her novels. So that's why when I was like, no, we definitely need to like not do a thing. Remember, I was
like a
telling you, I was
non-alcoholic.
we need to definitely do an alcoholic beverage for this because it's mentioned so many times. Then it got risky there for a minute, and then we figured out that I had the perfect amount. But so this is called Satan's Whisker, and it's in the book Black Coffee. And here's the quote where it mentions it. It's quite simple to make, quote, "It's quite simple to make if you have the ingredients," replied Barbara. "It's merely equal parts of brandy and creme de menthe. But you mustn't forget a shake of red pepper. That's most important. It's absolutely super and guaranteed to put some pep into you." Well, then I looked into this whole like, oh, interesting. Okay, so brandy and creme de menthe. Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm so hesitant to put anything cream in anything ever since the Roald Dahl episode.
Yeah.
That I decided to dig deeper, and that is actually the curdled version of it. So it will curdle if we did that way that she actually described in her novel. So I found the actual ingredients for Satan's Whiskers instead. And I thought the name was appropriate because it is Agatha Christie. But if you want to just check out this website, everythingagatha.com, it talks about all the different kind of mentions of alcohol that are in Agatha Christie books.
Okay, and so then what is our ingredients? Because yes, they're very different from what you just said.
100% different. Like 100% different.
Yeah.
So a real
totally
thing,
different direction.
Right? So I'm glad I went through the actual...
You can tell she's not a drinker because she's all like, this sounds like Satan stuff.
Yeah.
Brandy and red pepper and mint.
Yes. It's 2/3 not brandy. It's 2/3 gin, 2/3 sweet vermouth, 2/3 dry vermouth, 2/3 orange juice, and 1/3 Grand Marnier.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we're actually drinking, is an actual Satan's Whisker, and not the curdled version, because I couldn't do that to us.
Yes. Plus, I don't know, red pepper and mint
Sounds disgusting.
Yeah, that does sound real. And then to know that it would also curdle, like, sounds so gross. Like,
How we
that's how
would
you
wanna
throw
spend
up.
the evening.
That's how you throw up.
Exactly. So I did my research, but it was a really fun website to discover, because she does.
We should tell people that's a hangover cure, so then they'll like puke, you know, at the yeah.
No.
You know, usually that's what hangover cures are, is like usually stuff to like make people puke so that they get the alcohol out of their system.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to drink something delicious instead of vomity.
So cheers.
Yes, l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Oh, I like it.
Interesting. It's very orangey. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because it's like, it doesn't look like it has orange juice. I remember, saying to you, I was like, did you put the orange juice in there? Because I didn't think that it had any in there. But then tasting it, it's like, oh, yeah,
There's
no,
orange
definitely
juice.
there's orange juice in there.
Yeah, and with the Grand Marnier. It's good.
Yeah, I like it.
So make yourself the cocktail.
I feel like it'd be really fun for Halloween, actually, which is kind of interesting that, like, because I feel like Agatha Christie is someone we have thrown around is like during a Halloween, and then we've kind of thrown her to the and so it's like and it's orange too, so it's yeah, exactly. We're doing the total opposite. Beginning of spring,
6 months apart. 6 months apart.
I mean, that's that's probably, there's scary movies come out during this time of year too, so
right?
it's there's something about this time of year.
Well, and it was timely because of that book that Reese Witherspoon did.
Yeah. Oh, I should get you a tray so that you're not
clinking.
Yeah, because it is clinking.
Thank you. And while you're doing that, I will look up the Reese Witherspoon book.
Oh, here.
It'll take me.
We can put it behind your computer because the couch is usually pretty good at being
a stable environment.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called The Christie Affair.
Easy name.
Oh God, I'm a hot mess today. I'm such a fucking hot mess.
Yay. Nice.
So anyway, yes, it's called The Christie Affair. Check it out on Reese's Book Club. Listen to our podcast. Watch Death on the Nile.
Yeah.
She's relevant right now.
And if you like what we're saying right now, just make sure you leave us a comment on wherever you're listening, because we need more nice little comments on, like, Apple and Spotify. And I don't know if Spotify does comments, but definitely Apple Podcasts. If you can leave comments if you like us, please. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah. So Agatha Christie, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm super ready.
Make your cocktail.
Yeah, I got my sip of cocktail. I'm ready.
Kicking
Let's
up your feet.
do it.
Listening to something juicy.
Oh yeah, I'm in my beanbag. I'm ready.
So Dame Agatha Christie, born September 15th, 1890, as Agatha Mary Clarissa Miller, to an upper middle class family in Devon, and is the youngest of 3. She has an older brother and sister.
Oh, nice.
Her father, Frederick Miller, was a, quote, gentleman of substance. So I take that to mean they just had money.
Okay, yeah. Lad of leisure, maybe?
Yeah. I liked the gentleman of substance.
That's what I was calling Zach, your husband, now that he's in between positions.
Oh, yes.
But he's not unemployed, because unemployment is when you cry at 7 p.m. every night,
No, he's fun employed right now.
Yes, exactly. So he's a lad of leisure.
He's a lad of leisure.
Yeah, sounds like that's what Agatha Christie's husband or father was.
We'll get into that later.
Oh no, this is not Edgar Allan Poe.
No. And her mother, Clarissa Margaret Miller, aka Clara, was Irish.
Okay.
That's all I could say. They just were stay-at-home rich people.
Cool. All right.
But I want to talk about Clara's family for a second, because I thought this was fun. It really is not that important, but it's just fun.
Cool.
So Clara's dad died when she was young. The family was extremely poor. Her sister married a widowed merchant from the U.S., and to help with the family's financial situation, they take in Clara.
Okay. All right.
And they all moved to England. And when the son of the merchant, her sister's brother, so her brother-in-law's son by a previous marriage, comes home, they fall in love and get married.
Nice. Okay. This family that like took her in, they're
Well, it's her sister
Or her
and
sister.
her husband.
Yeah.
Take
Okay.
her in.
Yeah.
And the son.
So it's like her
It's her step brother,
nephew. No.
step nephew, It was so weird.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this is what why I wanted to say this. He marries Claire. They move around to the United States, back to Ireland, all around. They're merchants. And when Clara's father/father-in-law / brother-in-law dies, he leaves them quite a substantial amount of money, and they are able to just be people of leisure.
Yes. Ladies and lads of leisure.
Ladies and lads of leisure. And that, I just love that. Because her pseudo-father, because he took her in.
Yeah.
But he's also the brother-in-law. But he's also the father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so weird.
My father, my brother, my father. Yeah, that's so weird. That's great. Okay, cool. Great. So, yeah, I wasn't too far off, I guess.
No, you weren't. And so that's why I was like, ooh, get to that in 1 second. So Agatha's 2 older siblings are much older, and one is born in the U.S., actually, and one is born elsewhere, and while the parents are kind of traveling around doing their thing. And then when they get the money, they buy land and a house in England, and it's called Tarkey. I don't know. It's English, so, and I'm not even saying it right. So, they buy this house, and this is where Agatha is born and grows up. And she spends a lot of childhood alone with her imagination, specifically her imaginary friends and pets. Because her 2 older siblings were 10 and 11 years older. Did I say that?
Or you just said they were significantly older.
Oh, so 10 and
11 years.
So,
okay.
You know,
So she was a surprise.
She was a little bit of a happy surprise.
Yeah.
She was able to make some friends in the neighborhood and created a, quote, highlight of my existence was doing a youth production of Yeomen of the Guard. So she gets into theater.
Nice. Cool.
She becomes obsessed with theater.
Nice. So I do have to say, though, so it's like she had a lot of imaginary friends. And I feel like, considering what happens later in her life, just like how she wrote and stuff like that, I feel like her imaginary friends were ghosts. I'm just going to hypothesize that. Like, that her imaginary friends were not
so I'm going to
actually
plug in.
Imaginary friends. I think they were a ghost.
Okay. I'm going to plug something in here. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Her mom claimed to be, this was one of my fun facts, and I actually wanted to insert it first because I need to set this up.
Okay.
Her mother claimed to be psychic and clairvoyant.
Okay. See, I'm telling you, her imaginary friends were freaking ghosts.
I think she might have had some sort of hereditary potential clairvoyancy and psychic ability.
Yeah.
But who knows?
She was talking to ghosts when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Totally. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know if I really believe, you know, but then there's always these things with kids, like, who, like, it's like their imaginary friends are kind of creepy, you know? And it's like, people are like, it's like the dead people who used to live in that house and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm just like, that was probably her situation. Like,
yeah,
you know, knowing nothing but her writing and the fact that she had imaginary friends as a kid, I'm like, those are ghosts.
So yeah, just in the English countryside, like,
yes,
alone for most of the day, kind of wandering around, just chatting with these people, going and doing little shows at night, coming back, like. She's living kind of this ability to just hang out with ghosts all day. And then, like,
and they probably were like friendly, happy ghosts, like Casper, you know? They're like, oh, cool, here's a kid. Cool. Let's hang out with her, you know?
Yeah, she sees us.
Yeah.
Agatha's older siblings went away to school. So by the time that she was meant to be educated, her mother actually wanted her to learn at home.
Okay.
Agatha was taught by her parents and her older sister. Her mother waited to teach Agatha to read. Because of her claimed clairvoyancy and psychic stuff, she said, my child will not learn to read because I don't want her to be opened up to this world until after she's 8. So the mom teaches her to read at 8.
Wow.
That's so late.
Yeah. Or is it because she's kind of like the buster of the family?
She could have been the buster.
Yeah.
But secretly, due to curiosity and like a little bit of help from her sister, she actually secretly learned to read at 4.
Nice.
So she literally, like, you know how it's like you learn to read, but then you have to like sneaky read and like hide under the covers to be able to read that book that you want, or like you find a sneaky space to go read because this is what you should be doing. You should be doing your chores. She like had to take that level of secrecy of reading to an extreme level.
I know, that's crazy.
So it's like, oh no, I'm not supposed to even know how to read. What is this book? I don't
know. Right. I poured myself Cocoa Puffs instead of Cheerios because I can't read, Mom.
Exactly. So she was educated in all subjects and included music. She loved math and reading. In 1901, at age 11, she wrote her first poem, The Cowslip. Oh. At this age, too, is when her father took a major decline in health and passed away from pneumonia and chronic kidney disease.
Oh, wow.
This is when she declared that it was, quote, the end of a magical childhood. And she actually has a lot of quotes on a magical childhood and how important it is to have a magical childhood. So her childhood really held close to her home.
Nice.
To her heart. After her father's death, her sister not remarried. Her sister just got married. And her brother was overseas in the military. So now she is really super alone with just her mother, who's a bit of an eccentric.
Yeah. It's Lucille Bluth.
Yeah. And they're all alone in a house in the countryside of England where
so,
she might be seeing ghosts. So.
Yeah. Her brother's in like World War II. Is that what, or World War One, sorry, right?
That's not for another few years. He's just like at sea
at a
in
war.
the Navy. Not any war. He's just like in the military. Like even
okay. Yeah,
it's he's stationed elsewhere.
Yeah, or whatever.
Even
the
no
English
real,
equivalent of Navy, military. It's like they always got weird names, but
yeah, it was the Navy.
Yeah,
and he's a naval officer floating around in the Pacific somewhere or something.
Cool. Okay.
So he's just alone. He might have gone to the U.S. He also I think the Boer Wars were happening too. So it's like a lot's going on where her brother's just not at home because of fighting.
Okay. Great.
In 1902, she attends her first school, Miss Geyer's Girls' School, but couldn't handle the regimented atmosphere. So in 1905, she moves to Paris and was educated in a series of boarding schools.
Interesting.
I want to live her life. This school is too regimented. I must be sent to Paris.
I must go to Paris, yes. I want to be like Madeline, right?
Exactly. Hello.
Remove my appendix.
Just have no Miss Clavel. She focused on piano and singing in her education. However, at one point, she decided that she lacked the talent and temperament and gave up on the dream to be a concert pianist and opera singer. So that is actually what she wanted to do with her life, was be a performer and be a concert pianist or an opera singer.
Cool.
Right?
Nice.
Do you not just love her like a little bit more for that?
Yeah.
Like you were a theater nerd. You were like a huge just theater nerd and
I
wanted
know.
to sing and play piano.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But instead you became one of the most influential detective novelists ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when done with school, she returned home to a sick mom. And they moved to Egypt for a winter. Okay. And this was very important in her life because this is where she fell in love with archaeology, and she became obsessed with archaeology.
Sure,
and loved the culture and the place of the Northern Africa, Middle East, those dry desert climates.
Well, and it's like early 1900s, like that's when, like when you have a lot of that, English expeditions going into, Egypt and because that's why it's like, so many of those like mummy stories, like late 1800s, early 1900s. It's like,
right as the time she's going there.
Yeah, exactly. Like right when she's going there, it's like, that's when it's just like, oh my gosh, you guys, there's like a lot of crazy stuff
she's
here.
With like the OG, like Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So of course that's going to be like, you're there and this stuff is happening right there. Like that's got to boggle the mind.
Right. Right? How and she's like 18 years old and she's seeing all these like rugged things happening, and she was in Paris studying opera and stuff, and now she's like, wow, look at this. This is so different from everything I know and I love it.
Yeah.
And she does. After they moved back to England, after which she came back to a complete, lovely, upper middle class social life and partook in live theater.
So her mom got better.
Yeah, so her mom, it was just kind of like
they needed to move into like the
drier
nice
climates. Yeah. So and then she was fine. But it just, that opportunity of her mom being sick and then going to Egypt just gave her more like life and experience. And,
nice.
And they say with Agatha too, I'm going to throw this in here, is that like 85 to 90% of her novels she takes as inspiration from actual people and real life events. So she doesn't make up a ton for her stuff. And so like just going to Egypt and meeting these archaeologists then inspire more and more literature that starts to form in her head.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, and she, at 18, she wrote her first short story after being severely sick and bedridden. The story explores the concept of madness and dreams, in which she continues to explore and write about in short stories. So just this idea of when you're like hallucinating and
yeah, okay.
What does it mean to be that? So it's pretty cool. So she really just dives into this and it sparks this like very, I want to say aggravated, and agitated writing, but I don't know if it's like not the negative connotation we mean. It's just like fervorous type of writing. Like, oh, at least let me keep exploring this with more writing.
Mm-hmm.
Agatha starts to push all these manuscripts that she's starting to write, short stories and all this stuff, but is rejected under many pseudonyms. Sometimes she would resubmit a lot of these manuscripts with different titles and under her own name, but it still is rejected. It's like,
so it's not good. Okay.
It's just not good.
Okay.
It's not just because that name just sucked or that title sucked. I just didn't do well.
Yeah.
Christie, Agatha starts her on her first novel, which was actually rejected 6 times under the pseudonym Monosyllaba.
Okay.
I loved that pseudonym. And her mother says, go reach out to this family friend and neighbor, novelist Eden Philpotts. Philpotts connects her to an agent. But Christie is still rejected by that agent.
Yeah, I know you're friends with like one of my friends, but no. Like, get out of my office.
Get home. It's just so interesting that like that drive that she has. Like she's been rejected by a talent agent. And she still does not ultimately give up.
Maybe you should be a singer. You got the gams for it, girl.
But I gave up on that. Oh, God.
You know, I'm not a talent agent for singers.
Even with all these rejections, she is still living #her best life. She's dating and going to parties and partaking in sports and acting, etc., etc. She's just living her best life and just writing and still getting rejection notes. And instead of like spiraling, she's like, fudge, whatever. I don't care. Like, I'm still going to go party. Life's good.
Nice.
3 months later, what? Nope. I just skipped like 4 lines. In October 1912, she meets Archibald Christie at a party.
Okay.
He was a skilled flyer and artillery officer. 3 months later, they're engaged.
Woohoo, 3 months.
Yes.
I mean, you know. I feel like people know in 3 months, you know? Like, I don't know. I mean, I get when there's like people who like date for years and stuff like that. Because it's like, yeah, maybe just like don't want to get married or whatever. But you know in 3 months, like whether or not this is someone you want to like hang around with, like kind of semi-permanently, or like, you know, whether or not like it's like, no, this is not gonna work as a relationship.
Yeah, well, and then that happens too, where you're like, if you don't know and you're still just trying to force it years later,
it's not gonna happen, man.
Not gonna
you know,
happen.
if you're like, I don't know yet at like 3 to 6 months, then it's not gonna work. Like just decide like, no. Decide this is a nice person. Maybe you should just be friends. Like, you know. Like when you know at that point, you like, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. If you think you don't know, then just break up with that person.
Just break up. It's fine. There's other fish out there.
Or understand that there's an expiration date and just be like, okay, cool. This is an expiration date.
Yeah. And then you can actually get engaged and do have a long engagement.
Oh, yeah. I love the idea of long engagements.
And that's what they did.
I love the idea. Oh, cool. Yes.
So they're engaged after 3 months. But World War I breaks out and he leaves for France.
Ooh, okay.
And so they met. Okay, so I guess it wasn't that long. I guess my math was off. So they meet in October, November, December, January. So they're probably engaged by January of 2013. So it's probably about a 2-year engagement / he leaves for World War I because he's a military guy.
Yeah.
He comes back on Christmas leave in 1914. So yeah, so if they were engaged January of 1913, that would have been two years. And he comes back on Christmas for leave, and during that time, they get married. So they get married on Christmas in 1914.
I guess that was like Tolkien. He and his, they got engaged in like 2 seconds, and then like
nice long engagement,
and then they're engaged. The war breaks out, and then they didn't get married until like after the war or something.
Yeah, I think that did happen a lot though. Is like people would get quickly married on leave because like the thing with World War I was it was supposed to be done by Christmas of that year. Of 1914,
and then realizing it wasn't, so it's like,
so everyone's
right,
like,
let's get
no,
married.
this is So I think that did happen a lot because it happened on Downton Abbey too. So, during the war for Christie, Agatha,
not Mr.
She worked at the Red Cross. She
cool.
worked 3,400 hours as an unpaid nurse. And then for £16 a year as a qualified apothecary. And for £16 a year, that's like $1,000 a year.
Wow.
In today's terms.
Qualified apothecary. I know it's like probably some sort of like old school British term, but like I just think of like, I was gonna sneeze.
Sorry.
At the same time. It's I don't, it just sounds very witchy.
Oh, I love apothecaries.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't it sound like kind of witchy? You're like, yeah, I mean, I think Shakespearean, but like, I'm like, it just sounds, I don't know. And then I'm just thinking of all the kind of occulty sort of, atmosphere and stuff. And so it's kind of funny. I'm thinking like, yeah, she's selling like sage and, pentagrams and stuff.
Well,
which is
probably,
clearly not,
but not pentagrams.
Little weird things in jars,
Well, because just what apothecary is just more of like holistic, natural healing. We actually have an apothecary in town.
We have an apothecary?
Uh-huh.
And it's not just like some sort of like, that's the name, but it's like sells like organic soaps and really fancy washcloths and stuff like that.
I think a little bit of both. It's an actual apothecary that will sell like medicinal stuff that's herbal.
Okay.
But then throw in a couple like fancy
and here's
soaps and dishcloths. I'm guessing because there's no way to make enough money on, making it so that you're making tinctures at home and selling it.
Right. Yeah.
Because that was the apothecary.
I would imagine that they wouldn't have like an open face, like a storefront, like an apothecary. When you say there's an apothecary in town, I was thinking like, oh, so someone who's like selling something, from like out of their house and people just kind of know that's where the apothecary is.
No, it's actually the one that's like right above Country Liquor.
Oh, yeah. Which I call the bodega. That's what I call the bodega.
Okay,
and whenever I'm like, the bodega around the corner.
It's like, I figured it was that because it is around the corner. But yeah, there's an apothecary upstairs.
Oh, I should check that out.
I think they have really weird hours or something because Of
course they do. They've got weird hippie stuff.
Right? And I used to frequent an apothecary for skincare in Seattle, and they had really good stuff. Like, it's just natural. But anyway, so she becomes a qualified apothecary, so she can deal with stuff. Mm-hmm. And in 1918, at the end of the war, Archie is reassigned to London, and her services end, so they just moved to London.
Cool. Okay.
In 1916, she writes her first Hercule Poirot novel. She had found inspiration with the Belgian refugees and soldiers that she had helped care for.
Okay.
So he's probably actually like a Belgian detective that she bonded with while taking care of these people and kind of wrote a novel.
Nice. Cool.
This novel was rejected twice, but the bodily head, after sitting on it for some time, decided to publish if the reveal was changed.
Okay.
She changes it.
Nice. She's just like, I want to be published. I'm finally, I'm ready.
So
I did not live through a war to not be finally fucking published.
Right? Like, give it to me, people. And it was published in 1920.
Cool.
And it came along with a contract for the next 5 books.
Oh, wow.
I know. And this contract continued with some more Perrault novels. And she was at this time commissioned for short stories in the Sketch magazine.
Ooh, so everything.
Now all of a sudden she's taking off.
Yeah.
And she is no problem selling her work from this point on.
Nice.
That was all it took, was one spark.
Yeah.
And that was it.
See, but I think also it's kind of like
timing too.
Well, probably a little bit of that, because it's like, yeah, I feel like a lot of authors after a war, everyone really wanted to, like, indulge in different media and stuff like that. And you're able to take that experience of war and everything and be able to find a fictional thing for it, like find something else where it's like not exactly that. There's vehicles, there's places to find that. And so it's, cathartic for people without it being direct. Like Lord of the Rings again, we just had, you just listened to, and, these wars but it's like elves and it's all this other. So it's like, it doesn't feel like relatable really, but it is relatable on a level. And so there's that, but also really it's like with writing, it's one of those things where it's like the more you do it, you're not going to get worse at it, like singing, dancing, the more you kind of practice without having someone around to like help you, or acting, like the more you practice on your own, you actually might get worse. Like you can get worse. Like there's some people who it's like, you'll see them and they'll be like, oh, they're doing such a great job as an actor. And then you can kind of tell that they've been doing something at home, like in some rehearsals and stuff. You can tell that they've been working on something at home and like outside of rehearsal. And they come into rehearsal and you're like, how did you get worse at this? You were doing so well in that scene, like just yesterday, but writing is not like that. Writing, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So the more you write, no matter what it is, like you will get better. And so she put in so much time and hours and wrote a lot of stuff that was like bad, or even like she was at least like, it's okay. Like I think it's good, but she was probably able to look back and be like, oh, I can make this better. I can do better, and so you get better. You're going to always get better.
Very valid point. Yeah. So she got better.
Yeah.
And I think in the mixture of just like post World War I, where everyone was just so like beaten down, you needed that hero, the Hercule Poirot hero, and escapism of like who done it. But it's, you figure it out at the end. It's solvable. When like there was so much death in World War I that you can't make sense of.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get something that's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Then it's just like more of that relief.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a mixture of her getting better and then her timing. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, oh, okay, we need Christie.
Yeah.
So good job. Good job for that spark.
Nice.
In 1922, she took a world tour for the British Empire exhibition. She traveled many places and became one of the first British people to surf. She's a surfer girl.
Interesting. Where did she surf?
In Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they got to Hawaii. She learned how to surf, and she was one of the first British people, not just women, but first British people to stand up on a surfboard and surf.
She's like, wait, you're taking a board out there and you just stand on it? It doesn't sound that hard. I'll try it.
And she did it. So that's one of her claims to fame.
Cool.
Surfer babe. April 1926.
Okay.
Her mother dies. And it sends her into a deep spiral of depression. And she goes to Biarritz to recoup, which is right on the south of France. I've been there. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's luxurious. It's
a good place to recoup.
Yeah, to recoup for sure. walks on the beach, fancy buildings, good French food. Then August of that year, Archie asks for a divorce because he has fallen in love with someone else.
Oh no, Archie, why?
So her mom dies in April. 4 months later, her husband's like, I need a divorce.
Yeah, so I know your mom just died. This might not be the best timing, but...
Yeah, his timing was terrible. Wait at least a year.
Is she pregnant? What are you doing, Archie? Stay with Agatha.
Yeah. Yeah. In December, she and Archie have a huge fight.
Well, clearly.
About him spending the weekend with friends, and she is not allowed. So she, like, wigs the fuck out. And was like, you're going, and you just know that fight. She's going to be there, isn't she? No, she's not going to be there. It's just these friends. Then why can't I come?
It's a boys' night.
You just can't come. Da-da-da. Oh.
Are you, what, really?
Yeah.
Are you going to be texting her the whole time?
Yeah, exactly. Right? So it's like tensions are high because he asks for a divorce of August. She clearly kind of denies him, and he has no grounds, really, because there was like very finite amount of reasons to get divorced back then.
Yeah.
And
like infidelity
so
wasn't like enough. Like
well, but
she would have
to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She would have to be the one to like start the divorce proceedings for infidelity. And so yeah. And so August, December, September, October, November. So 5 months later, tensions are high. 4 months later, tensions are high, and we have this massive fight. This is like how like 2020 episodes start.
That night she disappears.
Dun, dun, dun. If you've seen this woman,
you watch too much 2020.
I do. I love it.
It's not a bad thing to watch too much of it.
They're so good.
It's not a bad thing.
They're so well made.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, the best part is watching these interviewers interview crazy people and like not roll their eyes or laugh in their face. I'm very impressed with like all of the reporters who work for 2020. Anyway, so Agatha Christie goes missing. What the fuck?
So we all knew that she disappeared. We have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
But she disappeared that night. The next morning, her car is found by a quarry. Which is, in case you don't know what a quarry is, dear lovable listener.
You have not listened to enough murder podcasts.
Exactly.
Because that's where a lot of bodies are found.
It's where a lot of bodies are found. And it's where they, like, dig up stones and stuff.
Yeah. So it's a great place to hide a body.
Yep.
Usually.
To make, like...
Or it's not, because clearly a lot of bodies are found there, so...
Right? So, her car is found with clothes and an expired license next to this quarry.
Wait, expired? Wait,
yeah,
her
expired license.
Okay, well, so her license was found there, but it's her license.
Expired?
But it's wait. So did she have a license that wasn't expired, and the expired one was found there? Or
I should have looked into that one. That would have you're really good at this Dateline stuff. You know how to ask the right questions. Detective Leslie Hoxie coming at you with tonight on...
I don't know.
Something.
The Hoxie Files.
The Hoxie Files. We got there. So, because it's Agatha Christie, and she's actually, by now, a very well-renowned author...
Yeah.
This becomes a huge news story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
1,000 police officers.
What?
15,000 volunteers.
How many horses?
Again, I didn't look at that. I'm not on Dateline enough. Wait, that's a good thing. What? What am I trying to say? You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm not good about the questions. No questions of horses. But 1,000 police officers, 15,000 volunteers, and a newspaper reward of £100, which is $6,000 today.
Wow, okay. Wow.
Are on the search
like
for her.
The starting amount. Usually they move up, you know?
Yeah, no, that's the starting.
Yeah.
That's the starting. They're like $6,000 for any information about Agatha Christie. Talk about the most intense. Here's my favorite part. Are you ready?
Okay.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle offers a medium one of her gloves to try and find her.
Okay.
Isn't that the coolest thing ever? You have Sir Arthur Conan Doyle giving a glove to a medium to try and find you.
Find her.
Find her! I was like, yes.
Yeah. He's like, people are like, can't you just ask Sherlock Holmes? You know him personally, don't you?
Right? It still takes 10 days for her to find her. So she's gone for 10 whole days.
That's a long time.
No one knows what's happened.
That's
almost 2 weeks.
It's like, that's a long backpacking trip even. You know what I mean? Like, that's forever.
Especially in those days. She's found in a hotel in Yorkshire, 184 miles away, registered under the name Mrs. Tressa Neal. And Neal is the same last name as the woman who Archie is leaving her for. And she claims to be from South Africa.
I hope she did an accent.
I really was thinking about that too. I was like, do you think she was like,
South Africa?
Is that like how they caught her? It was like she walks in. Yes, I'm from South Africa. No, that's no.
Like I was drop long A's. Like, well, I'm also being kind of breed. Oh, how do I do? Shoot, how do I do this?
Yeah, no, you're clearly Agatha Christie. Come with me. Part of me.
Hey, y'all, I'm not Agatha Christie.
Right? Oh my god.
Bonjour, y'all.
You're Agatha Christie. We've been looking. We had 15,000 people looking, 16,000 total people looking for you, and a $6,000 reward for you. Arthur Conan Doyle gave a freaking glove of yours. Okay?
He stole my glove?
Oh, Agatha.
I'm going to write a song that's going to be 10 minutes long, just like Taylor Swift.
Right? Right?
I know you gave my glove to a medium.
After she's discovered, she's taken to her sister's house and shuts out of the world completely for like a week.
Well, sure. I mean...
So part of me after reading this is definitely was like, because of her love of theater and because she kind of has these like amazing over-the-top meltdowns, I was kind of really hoping that she was just like, fuck you, takes off running, is like, I'm doing this so that everyone knows how awful he is, and da-da. And then it's like one of those things where you think it's going to be like one thing, and then you step out and you realize, holy shit, this is so much bigger, and you're just like, ah! I really think that's what happened. And she's just like, what? There's 16,000 people looking for me? Oh my God, this went too far. This went too far. I gotta go. And she just bails to her sister's house.
Oh my God. Yes. That actually makes a lot of sense because it's like, okay, so like her husband worked in like military, Marine, Navy, whatever kind of thing. So he's probably pretty good at like tracking stuff. Okay. So like when you leave in your car, you are going to probably want to leave your car somewhere, not where you're going to actually be, because he's going to be able to like find your car. Like if you're assuming he's probably the only one, or him and maybe like his friends that he's going away with on this like vacation, like are going to be the only ones like trying to find you,
Mm-hmm.
So like you're going to leave your car somewhere and you're going to like take a taxi or whatever and like head somewhere else. And so then you're going to hang out in a hotel room and be like, I just need some time to like cool off. And then it's actually taking you a lot longer to cool off than you thought it was. And then you're like, actually, this is kind of nice. I'm really just like fucking chilling. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm getting like my own little like DoorDash or whatever, I'm catching up on my Netflix, whatever, and like whatever they're doing back then, but you get to chill. You're just like chilling, taking bubble baths, cloths and like, face masks
I
and
love
like,
this. Yes.
and just like unplugged from the world and just like, and yeah, you're like, if he does find me, how hilarious will it be that like I'm going to use the last name, because I'm obviously, if he's looking for me, I'm not going to use my name because that's going to make it too easy for him to find me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use her last name, when I book this room. So if he somehow finds me, I'm going to use her last name. That'll be fucking hilarious, Like, it's funny to me, like
it's a little joke for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll leave him, this little breadcrumb. Like, while I'm trying to avoid him, I'll leave him this little breadcrumb to try to find me, Look for her name. Yeah, you want her so bad? Come find her find me by finding her.
Yeah.
Haha.
And then you just hear the knock at the door. Miss Christie, can you come out? And you think it's just going to be like your small group of people who are looking for you. And you walk out and it's like 4 helicopters, like the beams are at you. Yeah, there's like 14 air rifles around.
Yeah.
Like all these thousands of SWAT people. Oh my God. What happened?
Are you safe?
What happened?
Is he still in the room with you?
Yeah, right?
Like, what?
What is happening?
I don't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's just like, this went too far.
Yeah, exactly. It's the thing when people post something online and are like, they don't think about it, and then they turn on their phone and they have like 1,000 like alerts from like social media and email and text messages, and like they're just like, what happened? What just happened in my life? Like like
this went too far. And
yeah,
I had no idea.
Okay,
I
so
was
clearly...
taking bubble baths and eating Uber Eats.
Yeah. So I kind of I could see that instead of it being like
what I thought.
Yeah,
because I don't think she realized her importance.
Yeah.
So she was like, I can disappear for 10 days.
Author.
Whatever. I'm just an author. No.
Yeah.
You are clearly very important.
Yeah. And so of course, like now then, because then people are going to be like, oh my God, you're just being so dramatic. Like you're just trying to be like a character in a novel. And you're just, you're just an attention seeker.
Like, hides away. She's like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm going to go hide in my sister's house.
Yeah. Because then obviously there's going to be press outside of your house. Like,
yeah. Right. That's what she does.
You can't go to your house.
See, I like our theory. There's a lot of theories, but I like our theories. It's just like she's hanging out in this hotel.
She just had a fight with her husband. That's clearly the blinders are going to be based on that sort of situation of like, I'm going to show him, more than I'm going to show the world, I'm going to disappear. Haha.
Yeah, no. Yeah. She definitely was just like, I'm just going to chill.
Yeah.
And it just escalated very quickly.
Yeah, because if you really wanted to like fake being kidnapped or something like that, you wouldn't you wouldn't check into a hotel room or something.
No.
Like under any name. Like, or, and you would have cut your hair or dyed your hair or like something. And then you would have shown up running out of the woods and been like, oh my God, like 2 days later, not like 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah. You would have.
She's in a hotel. She's living like a crazy calm life.
Yeah.
Still same hair. Still probably the same clothes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What's happening? So I don't fault her. Some people say that she was just being dramatic and wanted to like punish her husband. Some people say that she suffered a bout of amnesia, but she does not mention the disappearance in her autobiography at all.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's probably super embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because it was probably something really simple.
I just wanted to take a break.
Yeah.
It was a really hard year. I just needed a break.
Yeah. Her mom died. She needed to relax.
She just needed to relax. And she found like a really cute B&B.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's our thoughts and theories. Let us know how you agree or disagree. So after a few days staying in her sister's house, January 1927, so the next month, she goes to the Canary Islands to continue recovery. Okay. So she's just like,
oh yeah, she's still like, no, I don't want to be around people.
Yeah. I'm going to go, and instead of going and finding a hotel, I'm going to the freaking Canary Islands.
Leaving.
I'm just going to go to an island.
Another place. Yeah, I'm going to put an ocean between me and all y'all.
Yeah, basically. Like, this is too much. I'm done. I need an island. Mai Tais all around, people.
Yeah.
That's why I love Agatha. When she returns, she files divorce from him. Okay. So she's like, this was too much. I'm done. I'm done now.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
And so they get divorced.
She had some good calls with her therapist while she was there on the island. And she's like, okay, I get this.
She just needed that.
I need
She
to own
needed
this.
that.
This is my, okay, yes.
And so it's like finalized in October. He marries his lover the next week.
Oh, God damn it.
Yes. So, but she's like, I don't care. Like, she has no more mental breakdowns. That's it. Just that one year, 1926, she just had several. It was a hard year on her.
Yeah, for sure.
In 1928, Agatha...
We should just do that from now on for years.
Agatha leaves via the Orient Express to Istanbul and then to Baghdad.
Haha.
There...
I wonder if that's significant in her life later
right?
on.
There she befriends an archaeologist and his wife.
What is this woman's life?
I know, right? Don't you kind of love her life?
Just like, okay. Yeah.
I just want her life. Like 100%. I want her life. And they invite her, and because of her enthusiasm for archaeologists and her just charismatic, awesome demeanor, they invite her on their next dig in 1930.
Cool. Okay.
On this dig, she meets Max Madeline, 13 years her junior.
Yes.
They get married that year in Edinburgh.
Aw, cool.
So in 1930, she goes on this dig, meets Max, and then they get married.
Aw, cool. And he's like an archaeologist-y kind of guy or something like that?
He's an archaeologist.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
He was on the dig.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's how she met.
She marries
Max.
Indiana Jones.
She marries Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
100%.
She's
like
like,
a cute babe.
Bye-bye.
Cute Max babe that's archaeologist.
Yeah,
who's
bye-bye,
like, oh my
Arthur.
gosh, I'm so fabulous.
August,
I can do
whatever your name is.
13 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just as a spoiler alert, they stay together for the rest of their lives.
Yay.
So it was a happy marriage. And she just continues to follow Max on digs, and since she loves archaeology, she's like, yeah, I'll go on that dig with you. I'll go on that dig, and just travels around going to these digs.
Well, then she can, she can work remotely. She's a writer.
And that's what she does. She just continues to write, and she's just writing a bunch. Just, like I said, she has potentially 66 to 72 novels. She wrote a lot and lots of short stories. So she's just sitting around traveling the world with her archaeologist husband and writing stories.
Nice.
And just writing, and just on trains writing, having dinners and writing during the day, and then going out to this dig and writing and writing. And
cool. Is the reason there's like a questionable like gap of like 10 novels or something because like of the ones that she wrote that weren't published or something?
Maybe.
Yeah. And then so maybe it's like someday they'll publish those.
Something, because she actually was very adamant about her own ownership of her works.
Oh, okay.
Later on, and that was a whole like thing I found that I was like, I'm not gonna get into this because it was like
deep rabbit hole,
super rabbit hole. I was like, I've spent too much time researching it, Agatha. I need to walk away. And so in this, she, as you have noticed with her writings, writes a lot about the Middle East, and then when they're back home in Chelsea, she's writing a lot. But focuses a lot of her stories that she develops in Torquay, however you say it, her childhood home. Mm-hmm. So that's where, so she's either like in the Middle East type of thing or back in like the gothic-y vibes of country England. And she goes and visits her brother-in-law in Abney Hall and draws a lot of inspiration from Abney Hall. So she's just traveling around and being like, ooh, that's inspirational. Let me write about it.
Yeah, good for her.
I know, right? She just writes. I love this. In 1934, she writes Murder on the Orient Express while traveling on the Orient Express.
Oh, yes.
And going back to the Middle East and all this stuff. She continues to live a quiet life traveling and writing and still performing as president of a local amateur dramatic society.
Oh, fun.
Best life, right?
Nice.
However, World War II breaks out.
Oh, of course it does.
And
it just gets in the way.
So pesky. And she actually works as a pharmacist in pharmacy at the University College and Hospital and learns a lot about poisons. And this inspires a lot of her work as well, such as The Pale Horse.
Okay. So she graduated from like voodoo to like actual science.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Apothecary to pharmacy.
No, and just like, yeah, chemical reactions and stuff like that.
But yeah. Okay. But poisons.
Yes. In 1958, she becomes a co-president of a detection club.
Cute.
In 1961, she receives an honorary doctorate from University of Exeter.
Oh, because she never went to college or anything. No. Okay.
No.
Cool.
No. So she ends
Oh,
up
wait.
with
Because she would have been in college during World War One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, not a ton of women went to college in those days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but yeah, and then
unless you were
there. But she was upper class,
yeah.
So she could have, but she ended up working
and partying.
Yeah.
And
well, but she was working as a nurse, you know, during the war. Like that's what she was doing. She was being a good citizen. She was working of the country
for the Red Cross.
Yeah.
So she was awesome. So she has that a little bit of medical background, a little archaeology, a little theater, a little writing, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And in 1971, she is knighted. 3 years after her husband. So 3 years prior, her husband got knighted for his archaeology. But 3 years later, she's knighted in 1971.
Yeah, cool.
So that's why she is Dame Agatha Christie. She kept Christie because of, even though her husband was an asshole, because of the writing.
Yeah.
So I did forget to mention that.
That makes sense.
In 1971, that year she gets knighted, she is starting to show signs of dementia or Alzheimer's.
Okay.
But she's still able to finish one last novel, published in 1973.
Wow.
Postern of Fate. So even though she's suffering from memory loss, she still finishes a novel.
Oh, cool.
I know.
I've always kind of wondered about that kind of, yeah. Whoa, cool.
Yeah. On the 12th of January in 1976, she dies of natural causes at 85 in her home. That night, 2 plays in London were showing her work, and they dimmed their lights.
Aww. Nice.
Agatha Christie. Badass extraordinaire.
I want to, okay, we, sometimes we invite people to our dinner party, in a sense, our author dinner party. Mm-hmm. She totally needs to be at our dinner party. She definitely needs to be at our dinner party. I think there's other people who it's just like, I mean, maybe we'll send out our invitation, but we're not going to call them and be like, can you really, definitely come. She definitely needs to come to our dinner party because I feel like there's so many things we could talk about with her and like and get along with her and stuff like that. Yes. I mean, I feel like she'd get along with so many people in my family. Like I just feel like this kinship towards her. Like,
right? I felt that same way too. Yeah. I was like, I kind of feel like she's this really like long lost aunt that
Yeah, exactly. She could be like some aunt or cousin of mine, and I would totally believe it. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely.
You're totally. I love you. So a couple fun facts.
Yes.
So the Parapalace Hotel in Istanbul claims that she wrote Murder on the Orient Express there. Okay. So again, during her travels, and they claim that she wrote it in there. Mm-hmm. And so they keep a room for her as a memorial.
So they just have an empty room
for her, yeah, and it's just as a memorial for her, always, just in case her ghost needs to go and write or something.
That's weird.
I love that. There's restaurants that keep an open table for certain patrons.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense to me, even if the patrons are dead or something like that. But like a whole room?
I mean, it's probably a small room, but yeah, she wrote an amazing novel.
Like nobody ever uses that room ever? No. Even if it's full, they're booked up.
It's just a fun fact I read.
I know. I just feel like that's absurd.
I thought it was cute.
It's cute. No, I mean, I think it's a lovely story that is probably not true.
A poisoning case in 1977 was solved because of the book's description of the symptoms from this poison that Agatha had described.
Oh, I think I remember hearing
someone
that.
Was like, I read these symptoms in an Agatha Christie novel. What? It's this. Oh my God, it's that.
We got to test for this. Yeah.
So good for her.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me of the book that I'm reading right now, 8 Perfect Murders. It's this murderer that's going around and they're able to start piecing it together because of a Christie novel, The ABC Murders. So
Oh, I love the ABC Murders.
and so check out 8 Perfect Murders.
Oh, cool.
By something Swanson. Anyway, I always forget to put names of authors as we have a podcast about authors.
I know.
I forget about that part. MI5 thought at one point that she had a spy in their top secret code breaking center, and they had her followed for a really long time because she has this book and the character's name is Bletchley, and Bletchley in this book, they're dealing with like code breaking, spies, this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually the name of a place. Bletchley was the name of a place, a code breaking place, top secret code breaking place that no one should have known about, kind of a thing. But when Agatha was asked, like,
how did you know?
Like, how did you know about this code breaking place? She's like, I got stuck there on a train, and I was really annoyed that that's where I was stuck for like several hours, so I named my unfavorite character after that.
That's awesome.
I know.
That's the movie.
Yeah, right? So it's like, they're all like,
that's the movie.
She's got a spy. She's into it.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah.
I just was really annoyed. I was on my way from Oxford to London, and I got stuck there for 2 hours. I missed my luncheon. I was annoyed. I didn't like this character, so I named it Bletchley. Okay?
Yeah. That would be, it's like a Born Identity, but it's like a comedy where like all like, you know, these MI5 people think that, you know, or MI5, MI6, the people think that like Agatha Christie really is some sort of like spy, you know, like from another country, and like she's, you know, knows all this counterintelligence, and so they're like following her and this and that, and like, who does she know? Who's been talking to Agatha Christie? Like somehow she's getting information and this and that, and like, and yeah, and everything's just kind of like bumbly.
Right? But it's not like a Dial M for Murder kind of comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like a Dial M for Murder thing. Yeah. But yeah, total comedy.
But like total comedy.
That'd be fun. I would watch that.
I know. Well, there you go.
And
writing inspiration.
Yes, exactly. And then you make it like, and yeah, you make, and I'm so into like, you know, things that are like modern right now, but are like based on like the 30s and 40s and stuff like that. I'm so into that right now.
So do it. Waiting for your next book.
Ideals.
Yes, because I'm going to do a plug. Leslie does have a novel out there, people. So she just needs to write her second one. And then one last fun fact is that Arthur Conan Doyle, she learned from his mistakes.
Okay.
Because as we know, Sherlock Holmes was murdered in the Reichenbach Fall, and it enraged people. Like it caused riots. So she knew she also wanted to kill off Hercule Poirot, but she didn't want to do it until after she was dead. So she wrote his demise, put it in a vault, and said, please release once I'm dead.
Nice.
I don't know if it did get released, but she was like, no, I'm not going to watch the rioting that happens, but I do want to kill off this character.
Interesting.
So she did it, put it in a vault, stuck it away, said, in my will, please release once dead.
Okay. Yeah. See, yeah, I think it's so interesting. Like, you know, just, I mean, I don't know, like back then and stuff like that, this idea of like killing off your, like the character, the character that is your novel and stuff like that, which I get, because maybe, I guess you don't want to do it anymore, and you don't want anyone to like pick it up when you're done, you know, you don't want it to like, you know, someone to be like, now I'm going to take it over, ha ha ha, you know. But I do find it more kind of interesting, even though it's just as enraging to fans and stuff, when it's more like you kill off the sidekick or the best friend or the lover, or, you know, whoever's like kind of the number two. So like in Sherlock Holmes, Lestrade. Or Watson. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You kill off Watson, you don't kill off Sherlock Holmes, you know? Like, that's the person you kill, and which would be enraging, but that's who you kill, you know?
Yeah, because you still couldn't do Sherlock Holmes without Watson.
Yeah.
It would just be nothing. It would be blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have a good point.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same. It's not, yeah, it's, you know, you don't, yeah, exactly. You know, you leave, yeah.
So, and then I wanted to do one thing for you. I pulled out a quote.
Ooh.
So, a quote from Agatha Christie. Quote, one doesn't recognize the really important moments in one's life until it's too late. End quote.
Aww. Nice.
I just looked up quotes for you. I want to throw that, and I was like, oh, I like that one, so I threw that in for you.
Nice.
So there you go. That's Agatha Christie.
Woohoo!
Dame. What a dame.
Dame Agatha Christie. I love that it's like, yeah, she's, I mean, because it's not just that she was also like, oh, this prolific author and stuff like that. It's like, no, she did really good for her country, you know, not just from writing. Like yeah.
Served in the Red Cross, and then served at the apothecary.
Yeah, and the pharmacy. And just, she did, you know, like she served her country. She, you know. Yeah. She's a good person.
She's a good person. And she just had many interests and was so, just to me, charismatic with everything that she was doing.
Yeah.
And vivacious and knew how to give up, but also knew when to not give up.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's important because she was like, no, I'm not going to be a singer and pianist.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be a novelist.
Yeah.
And this is going to happen.
In our pretend dinner party, I want her and Nora to hang out.
Yes.
And I want to hear what they have to say to each other.
I would so love to just listen, be like, here.
Here's
some snacks.
Yeah. And then if other people are kind of like, you know, sort of like getting awkward, then it's like you have to separate those two and like sort of spread them out to other people because you know both of them are gonna.
Well, Oscar's there too. Oscar will never let.
Oh yeah, but see, he's gonna annoy people, you know, at some point, you know. So Oscar's in the corner and he starts pissing everyone off, and so it's like, hey Nora, get over here. Agatha, can you go make sure that like you know
everyone's having a good time, but not annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, I love her. And I like that we drank a Satan's Whisker.
That was fun.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and that's like when I did my research too. She was so much more than such a prolific author. Yeah. She's so much more than her 1926 disappearance.
Yeah.
Which really, as we've come to realize,
her Dateline
was
episode.
Just a moment of like, I'm doing self-care, and then it escalated.
Yeah, I really think that's kind of what happened. And now this is why women don't self-care enough anymore. Because of Agatha Christie.
Look what you guys did.
This is the lesson that we all learned. I just want to sit in a hotel room and eat bonbons and like turn off my phone. And apparently I cannot do that.
Yes, you can't. As a female, you can't.
Because apparently you will call everybody.
Yes.
The National Guard.
The National Guard has now come looking for me because I turned off my phone.
Yep. So anyway, I guess I'll just eat 15 almonds in the middle of the day and call it self-care.
Right? It's so true. It's so sad.
On that note, drink your water.
Okay.
If you haven't had any water today, drink some water.
Self-care?
Yeah, self-care.
Okay.
Go to the bathroom regularly.
Stand up and stretch.
Yeah, stand up and stretch, you know, move, circulate.
All that good stuff.
Keep breathing.
Yeah.
Let the blood flow through your body. Call it self-care.
Very basic.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.
Resources for this episode are...
Sources.
Damn it, fuck.
So close.
Sources for this episode are bookstellyoui.com for the fun facts, agathachristie.com for everything. It's a great site. Go look it up. It has everything. And then a documentary on YouTube.
Ew.
Okay.